Well, congratulations. Suddenly you're rich. Gold and silver have skyrocketed beyond your wildest imagination. You know those predictions of $50,000 gold, $10,000 silver, whatever the number is measured in unicorn fart dust paper fiat currency doesn't really matter. The big event has occurred. I have a key question for you. Are you prepared? You've been waiting for this to happen. It finally happens, but do you actually know how you will capitalize on it? Do you have a plan in place? I don't think a lot of us do. I think we like to sit around and hypothesize and theorize and strategize about how the fiat currencies are going to eventually become worthless and that the value of our silver, the value of our gold will eventually go through the roof. But what have we done in terms of preparation, in terms of what actions we will take to make sure that we properly capitalize on the situation? There's no magic formula, right? But there are some key things that we can look at, that we can talk about, so that if that were to occur, there's no guarantee, but if that were to occur, we are at least somewhat prepared, have some idea on what actions we're going to take to make sure that we benefit for ourselves and our family the most. Because that's why we own gold and silver, precious metal mining stocks, right? Because we want safety and security for ourselves, for our family. Let's talk about this very important subject right now. I know it sounds preposterous. $50,000 gold, $1,000 silver, whatever number you want to throw out there. They sound crazy. But think about this. If we look at it through the lens of history, the last 1,000 years, the last 5,000 years, every single one of those paper, unicorn fart dust, whatever you want to call them, fiat money currencies, anything not based on silver and gold, have wound up worthless. So even 1 million US dollar gold, it's realistically not out of the question. I understand it sounds crazy, but again, if we look at history, heck, if we even look at what's gone on in some countries in modern times, Zimbabwe, Argentina, countries that have experienced hyperinflation, the value of gold measured in dollars could go through the roof, and we need to be prepared. I have a special request of you. Could you please join me in saying hello to Deborah? She's a regular viewer of Ron's Basement and a great commenter in the comment section below. We want to hear from you as well in the comment section below, but most important, thank you, me and you right now, one-on-one, for joining me today. From anywhere in the world, we're together. We'll navigate these choppy waters. We'll get through this. If you enjoy my video, please subscribe. Now let's move on to the meat of the matter. How do we prepare for this big increase in value in ounces of gold? The first thing that we need to do is make sure we have our primary needs taken care of. What do we need? We need food. We need water, we need shelter, we need our health, we need friends too, friends and family. We're stronger together. Hey, this is kind of part of a group or a group of friends and family. I feel like we could ask each other for help, but we also have our neighbors, our relatives, our co-workers. Get those needs taken care of first. And in a scenario where we have massive appreciation in the value of gold and silver, things could get really hairy out there. Now notice I'm not saying price, because I'm not measuring gold and silver in dollars anymore. I look at it in ounces. How many ounces of silver does a person have? How many ounces of gold does a person have? That's how we need to look at our precious metals, because when this situation all unfolds, the second key thing that we'll want to consider at some point is trading ounces of silver, for instance, for maybe a house, anything of real value, machinery, all types of real assets, land, farmland, oil-related, mineral-related properties. that is how we will want to handle the situation once the value of the ounces goes up precipitously. In terms of a house, let's say right now, a decent little house in your area would cost the equivalent of, let's say, 10,000 ounces of silver, right? If the value of those ounces goes up very, very high, right, you may be able at some point to get that same house for 1,000 ounces of silver or 500 ounces of silver. You're going to want to look at the relative value of your ounces of metal versus real assets, because you don't want to trade it for unicorn fart dust, right? You don't necessarily want to, if the dollar goes through a big collapse, what's the point of trading those ounces for paper money? You don't want to do that. You want to trade it for real hard assets and things preferably that can help generate some type of income going forward. One thing I know for sure about you, the viewer of Ron's Basement videos, is you are smart. You have a little superior intellectual horsepower. So if you have other ideas on what a person might do, please share them with us in the comment section below. The last thing I'll mention is this, the stock market. If this event were to occur where the value of ounces of metal, gold, silver, platinum, palladium, were to go up precipitously, that's the word of the day, we might consider even buying some stocks, but only stocks that have a lot of real assets, right? Minerals, farmland, timberland, again, real hard assets that can help produce income and no debt or little debt on their balance sheet, because we want to make sure that we're getting real assets that are free and clear of any major debt encumbrance. And you need to keep in mind, it all comes down to timing. I don't have a crystal ball. You don't have crystal balls. We have to do the best to evaluate the situation as it plays out. Look at the relative values. For instance, right now, 1 ounce of silver will buy you about 4 or 5 heads of lettuce at the grocery store. To me, that's not an attractive trade. But if we have this event where the value of the ounces goes up precipitously, maybe you can trade 1 ounce of silver for 100 heads of lettuce or 500 heads of lettuce. It becomes more attractive at that point. The final thing I think we need to think about and talk about is the other option, which is, hey, just hold on to your metals. I mean, they've done well for 4,000 or 5,000 years. Sure, you may miss an opportunity to time something perfectly and trade your metal. Don't do anything all at once. That would be one of my biggest recommendations, and something, frankly, that I often struggle with. I'm an all or nothing person, but don't just liquidate everything in one fell swoop. I would personally recommend that if, again, the value of these ounces goes up significantly and you do want to start to convert some of your ounces into some other real assets, do it on a cost average basis. Do it 20% at a time or 10% or 25%. Don't do everything all at once. Hey, thank you for joining me in Ron's Basement. Let's look forward to the day when we do have rapid appreciation in the price of the metals. We don't want calamity to be going on. We don't want people being hurt, but we are prepared. That's why we hold the metals. That's why we hang out together at places like Ron's Basement. I'm so glad you're here. You joined me. I'm going to look forward to seeing you next time.